onwards, there was an opportunity for me to mingle with the RRB staff, visit the branches and consolidate. Of course, you cannot compete with visiting the branches, etc. with Comrade Bhattacharya, who is always on the toes. Rightly described that he is the backbone of the RRB officers in the banking industry. And the issues are very, very different, though they are the part of the AIBOC. But up till now, they had not given that trouble to the AIBOC leadership to settle their issues. Barring some here and there some issues. In the 8th bipartite, of course, with the follow-up from the AIBOC, at that time Comrade R.C. Agarwal was the president, I was the vice president, and Comrade Bhattacharya, we went to settle the salary revision for the RRB at NABARD office. Really speaking, there was no necessity for us to again follow up with the NABARD or the government as per the salary revision is concerned, because after the 1991 onwards, as per the Justice Subal Reddy's verdict, there should be parity in pay and allowances as per the RRB and the commercial banks are concerned. But that remained in the books because the what parity has been brought now is only on the salary, not on allowances, etc. So we felt that in 8th bipartite there was no need for us, for the NABARD to invite for the discussion. In the first instance only we told them that under the parity you have to extend the joint note which was signed at that time with the IBA has to be made applicable to the RRB employees and officers also. But they were quoting that some of the RRBs are not in a position to bear the additional cost because the profitability was the question at that time. It was not a new question. Even in 1991 also, when before the Justice Subal Reddy, the managements of the RRBs through the government, the point they raised before the Subal Reddy Commission is that the capacity to pay. Unlike the commercial banks, of course, in commercial banks also, there were 2-3 commercial banks who were not in a position to bear the additional cost on salary revision. That was a different issue. But the issue before the Subal Reddy at that time was also whether there is a capacity for the RRBs to pay the additional the salary and allowance at par with the commercial banks. It is on behalf of the AIBOC, Comrade late R.N. Godbole, the then General Secretary of the AIBOC, made an effective presentation saying that the constitutional right that equal pay for equal work, that is Article 14 and 16 of the Constitution of India, are applicable. And in the banking industry, whether it is RRB or whether it is a commercial bank, they are doing the same work. If the work is same, how can there be a difference in the payment? Under that, AIBOC presented its views before the Justice Subal Reddy. Whether the banks were in a position to bear the cost or not, that is a secondary. That is for the management or the government to take care of that. Of course, the nationalization of the commercial banks from the 1969 onwards or the establishment of the RRBs from the 1976 onwards, the aim was not the profit. Aim was to spread the banking to the nook and corner of the country. For the integrated rural development, that the commercial banks were asked to open the branches, and equally that the RRB were created. The main issue before the RRBs was that to take the banking to the nook and corner of the country. The profitability or the capacity to pay was not the question. Rightly, the justice gave the verdict saying that irrespective of the capacity to pay, that equal pay for equal work, the RRB employees and officers are also doing the same work as that of the commercial banks, and they must be eligible for the equality, equal treatment, that the salary and allowance of the commercial banks and the RRBs must be same. But till today, I know that the ARRBOF is fighting that barring some banks in the RRBs, there are differences in the allowances. So what has been implemented here is only the basic DACC and HRA pattern. The all other things are different. In 8th bipartite, they wanted to even not to pay the arrears in one lump sum. it is the AIBOC which we stuck to the point saying that it must be paid. But you know that there also the different organizations are there in the RRBs. They did not support that idea. Anyway, the salary revision was implemented, but the arrears was paid in installments. Ninth bipartite, I am very happy that without any efforts from the AIBOC, one letter which was sent after signing an agreement with the IB on 27th of the April 2010, immediately we flashed one letter to the government saying that the RRB also should get the same salary and allowance which is applicable to the nationalized banks. Because in the RRB Act also, it is silent about that, whether you are governed by the state government scales or central government scales or the bank scales. Now that because of the Ubul Reddy's decision that now you are governed by the nationalized bank, the scales itself. So ninth bipartite, even thanks to the government that it was implemented without any hassle, but till today that issue of the allowance or other perks and the loans etc. are different in different banks. I am not aware what is there in your bank, only I am talking here on the general terms. There is no parity as far as the superannuation benefits are concerned in the RRBs. The Provident Fund with the ceiling up to the 6,500 rupees, that basic pay at the 12% basic and DA, and no pension. Pension is only 8.33 goes towards the Provident Fund, and remaining 1.33 whatever it is. A paltry sum of the pension is still prevailing in the RRBs. Today the issue before the ARRB or the RRB employees and officers is more than settlement of the fringe benefits like the allowance etc. The major issue is the pension. Rightly your General Secretary has put forth before the ARRB of General Secretary that the main issue before the RRB employees and officers today is the parity on the superannuation, that is the pension. Even in commercial banks also, though the pension was introduced from the 1993 onwards, there was a problem regarding the one more option which we could achieve in the ninth bipartite. There of course we have made some sacrifice that agreed to contribute some portion of the deficit or the additional cost from the employees and officers. It was possible from the ninth bipartite salary arrears. We did it, otherwise we felt that it is not possible, though we are legitimately eligible, but through the courts and etc. it may take longer time. So that one more option for the remaining PF optees was a reality in the ninth bipartite. Now we presented before the government after signing agreement that not only salary and allowance for the RRBs must be paid at par with the commercial banks, AIBOC did demand that the pension, that is a superannuation benefits which are prevailing in the commercial banks, must be extended to the RRBs also. Now again the same story is being repeated from the government, capacity to pay. We were very happy that on the last days of the previous the finance minister, today the President of India, that he has given in principle approval for introduction of the pension in the RRBs also. But you know that like advertisements, they say that everything is available, but there will be one star mark and there they will write the conditions apply. Here again for the RRB pension also, the conditions apply, which has been written by Mr. Mittal, the Secretary of the Financial Services, that when the letter went to the NABARD, the conditions were such that the impracticable conditions were put for the introduction of the pension in the RRBs. I was very happy on that day when we received a communication that the finance minister has cleared in principle the pension. He may not be knowing the conditions which have been put forth before the NABARD by the lower level officials like the secretary, joint secretary, etc. Of course now there is a change of guard also. The P. Chidambaram has again come back, it is the third time, more experienced person. We don't know how he is going to deal with this issue. But of course second option on pension, he dealt it properly at that time. In fact, when the in principle approval for the second option on pension was given in 2008 February, Mr. P. Chidambaram was the finance minister. Today I feel that when he has come back again, he knows the problems of the bank officers, especially the rural people who are working in the rural areas and the Grameen banks, the conditions may be relaxed to some extent. But the old issue of the capacity to pay, how can that the Justice Obul Reddy, that is the highest authority, that Supreme Court has ruled that the capacity to pay cannot be quoted by the government or the managements for any such benefits, and the pension being one of the service conditions. Today again the same old story is being put forth that the employees have to bear some cost, and also the profitability has come. Only the profit making RRBs can introduce this pension. It is a strange idea. I don't know whose brainchild it is from the government, that only the RRBs which are profit making, they must introduce this pension. That too with the contribution from the employees and officers. I am told that the 30% of the additional cost has to be borne by the employees and officers. More or less the employees and officers and our ARRBF, we have reconciled that we can strengthen our pension fund. We may make some contribution, some small contribution can be made when in the nationalized bank some contribution was made. But the issue of the payment of the pension, linking it to the profitability, cannot be accepted at any cost. Today they say that only the profit making RRBs can pay the pension. Tomorrow they say that only the profit making RRBs can pay the salary also. They may stop the salary also, payment of the salary and allowance also, because your bank is not doing the profitability. Whether the profitability is in the hands of the employees and officers, that is a big question mark. Any bank, including the commercial bank, if it has to make a profit, of course profit is necessary, but is it in the hand of the employees and officers? It is a management, it is a planning, it is execution, it is operation, it depends upon the government policy, it depends upon the interest structure, etc. The cost, all these things are not in the hands of the ordinary employees and officers to control the profitability. If any bank is not doing profit today, it is only on account of the reasons, maybe reasonable reasons. The management is not in a position to bring the bank into the profitability. For the inability, why the employees and officers must be punished? If the employees and officers are not working, if they are shirkers, if they don't go to the office, then you can punish them. I know that in RRBs there are no working hours. Even